$340. That's how much you had left in your budget last month. You saved it. You were proud. And then, your company announced restructuring. 40% of the team gone by Friday. Not because the company was failing, because an AI tool could do your job for a fraction of the cost. And that $340? That's your safety net. 6 months of expenses in a savings account, just like every financial advisor told you. The problem is, 6 months isn't 6 months anymore. The average job search in the US now takes 24.5 weeks. That's nearly 6 months just to land something. Not your dream job, not the same salary, something. And that number is a 16% increase from just 1 year earlier. In certain sectors, tech, finance, creative, it's worse. Much worse. But here's what nobody in the personal finance world wants to say out loud. The 6-month emergency fund wasn't designed for a world where Block fires 4,000 people in a single announcement, and the stock goes up 22%. It wasn't designed for a world where Klarna cut its workforce from 7,000 to 3,000 and plans to hit 2,000 by 2030. It was designed for a world where losing your job was temporary, where the economy absorbed you back in 90 days. That world is gone. And the 6-month rule isn't the only one that's expired. Buy a house as soon as you can. The most sacred money rule in America. Your parents said it, your uncle said it, Dave Ramsey said it. And for decades, it was structurally true, because mortgage rates sat between 3% and 5%, and home prices climbed steadily. Now run the math at 6%. Bankrate's 2025 study found that renting is cheaper than buying in all 50 of the largest US metros. Not most, all. The average mortgage payment now costs 38% more per month than rent. And at a 6% rate on a median-priced home, after 10 years of payments, you've paid off just $58,000 in principal. The rest, hundreds of thousands of dollars, went straight to the bank as interest. You didn't buy a home, you rented money. The hidden assumption behind buy ASAP was that rates would stay low enough to make the math work. That assumption held for 40 years. It broke in 2022. And the people who bought at 7% because you can always refinance later are now watching 21% of American homeowners sit locked into rates above 6%, the highest share in a decade. Then there's the debt rule. Avoid all debt. Clean, simple, virtuous. And catastrophically incomplete. The wealthy don't avoid debt, they use it. U.S. household debt hit $17.69 trillion, and a significant chunk of that is held by people who are getting richer, not poorer. The difference isn't discipline versus recklessness. It's structural leverage versus consumption debt. A mortgage on a rental property that generates income? That's leverage. You're borrowing at 6% to earn at 8% or more. A credit card balance on a vacation? That's consumption debt. The avoid all debt rule doesn't distinguish between these two. It treats a $200,000 business loan the same as a $200,000 shopping spree. And in doing so, it keeps middle-class earners terrified of the exact financial instrument that builds generational wealth. So what replaces the rules? Not new rules. Rules are the problem. They're static. They freeze. What you need is a recalibration system, a financial operating model that updates as conditions change. 3 moves. First, replace the 6-month fund with a runway calculation. Researchers at the Federal Reserve Board estimated tariffs on China alone could cost up to 3.4 million American jobs. Financial Samurai now recommends 12 months of expenses, not 6. But even that's a rule. The real move? Calculate your industry's disruption timeline. If you're in a field where AI adoption is accelerating, customer support, content, junior development, your runway should be 12 to 18 months, not 6. If you're in healthcare or skilled trades, maybe 9 months is fine. The number should be a function of your exposure, not a generic benchmark. Second, run the rent versus buy math every 18 months. Not once, not when you feel ready. Every 18 months, plug current rates, your local median price, and your projected investment returns into a calculator. At today's rates, renting and investing the difference comes out ahead by roughly $120,000 over a decade. That changes if rates drop to 3.5%, so you recalibrate. You don't follow a rule, you follow the math. Third, audit your debt by function, not by fear. List every debt you carry. Next to each one, write what the borrowed money is doing. Is it generating income, appreciating in value, or is it depreciating while you pay interest on it? Kill the consumption debt aggressively, but strategic leverage, debt that puts your money to work at a return higher than the borrowing cost, that's not a mistake. That's architecture. The most dangerous financial advice isn't wrong advice. It's right advice from the wrong decade.